Regarding the family court stuff, just by way of bare bones update, we will be launching this week a more formalized version of the community, association that's popped up here in a most unexpected way. I have decided to agree to at least temporarily fund the unincorporated and informal association that will be known as Families Advocating Court Reform. And thank you to all of those who have contributed their time and talents to that effort. My commitment is not long-term, but somebody has to step up here, and I'm in a position to, and I think it's really important that this happen. And so that's going to be happening this week. That will have nothing to do with, it'll have something to do with my law firm. I'll be involved in it, but it will be separate. It will be in a different office, in my office complex. It will have separate staff who start this week. We're excited about that. We'll have an executive director. And the purpose of that will be, one, to advocate for public policy reform on behalf of families who have been victimized by the court system, and in every form, and specifically a project in relation to the Kenton County Family Court in specific, which generally involves going out and talking to all the people and collecting from them their sworn affidavits and statements regarding what has happened in their cases and the evidence in relation to that, and also verifying what can be verified. Katy and I simply don't have time to do all of that, and we long ago got to the point where either investment is made in this or we walk away from it. We are not willing to walk away from it for a lot of reasons. We think it's too important, and we're not comfortable doing that as a matter of conscience. That's just where we stand. So exciting news on that front. Furthermore, I'd like to say the following, just to clarify some things. First of all, I'm no longer in the Kenton County Family Court with my litigations. This was never about my litigations, and I just simply cannot unhear what I've heard, and that has been the driving force all along for me. I think there are three major issues, and I'd like to simplify it for people. It's not to say there aren't other issues, and we don't want to hear about those. We certainly do. And on the whole, generally, the issue is not following the rules in the law. But there are three manifestations of that I think are particularly troubling that I'm focused on and that have driven my decision to invest in this project. First of all, there are a lot of people going to jail in violation of the law or pursuant to court orders for which there is no lawful authority, or that patently violate the Constitution of the state and the state and federal constitutions. We have both, in my view, just as a lawyer, patently unconstitutional, both substantively and procedurally, meaning we've got people going to jail for things that you should never send people to jail for. And secondly, even if there were some argument that these kinds of things warrant jail sentences, I'm sorry, but the Constitution affords certain procedural due process protections which have not been met at all. You cannot slam a gavel down and throw somebody in jail for not paying a fine or doing whatever. And if you don't believe me, look, I'm not willing to discuss this, okay? There's some black and white here. But what troubles me is the number of people. Some days it seems to me like half of Northern Kentucky has quietly gone to jail, and has not told anybody about it because a lot of these things obviously are kept secret by these people. I mean, we've got soccer moms going to jail for 36 days over nothing. We have police officers going to jail for, long weekends and being put in the general population, which is, let's face it, an invitation for somebody to kick their ass for not paying a $40 fee. Okay, we have, we have waitresses that are low-income people who are being arrested on Fridays pursuant to anonymous tips and warrants that in that particular case, there's no question that the warrant was invalid, in that it was supposed to have been withdrawn from the system. how that can happen once, which I never saw in my entire law enforcement career, much less twice on the back-to-back weekends that young lady happened to have her kids all weekend. And without a question, we have a citizen of Kenton County spending 8 days in jail and being torn from her family. No, listen to me. No. Okay, that's just 3 examples. Countless affidavits locked away in my drawer that, people have been very brave to swear out, and law enforcement stepping forward to talk about, as a matter of conscience, the secret that they appear to have carried with them for quite a long time, which is the knowledge that way too many warrants were coming out of that court way too often for things that absolutely should not be translating to people going to jail, and they themselves being people that have to actually execute those warrants, okay? And I commend those folks who have stepped up. And of course, they're not going to say anything. They have fear of retaliation because it has been, apparently, the message has been absolutely sent to them that should any of them have domestic, issues in the Kenton County Family Court, that that it will be taken out on them, which sadly the data suggests. So, no, I don't know what to tell you. I am not willing to step away from those issues. I think they are issues of very grave concern. They obviously have nothing to do with my cases. These are the kinds of things we've been working on for a while, and that's just a major thing. But that is really serious, and we are looking into this. I'm not walking away from that. Thank you very much. Just as a matter of conscience. Number 1. Number 2, we have an income stream for attorneys that is being generated or has been generated out of the Kenton County Family Court, the likes of which, preliminarily, we're not done with the data yet, but there is data on this stuff. But we're far enough along that I don't need to wait for this little project to conclude. It's going to demonstrate what I already knew, which is that the Kenton County Family Court has made lawyers rich on the backs of the weak and vulnerable. This is not a matter of opinion. Again, affidavits that I'm in the possession of, right now. This stuff is on tape. Okay, when we have attorney's fees that are being awarded in cases where one of the parties is represents themselves, pro se, because they're too poor. Okay, and they're in that case against another attorney. First of all, when you are litigating against a pro se litigant, and when you are a court that has a pro se litigant, there are special rules. I'm not debating this, okay? I'm not having a debate about what the rules are. And there are rules, I assure you, okay? I've spent a lot of time, I feel, in that court, previously to getting out of it, debating things that look, the world is round. I don't know what to tell you, okay? There are rules. And when we have the poor and the vulnerable and the unsophisticated, those who don't know any better, who are being made to pay thousands of dollars in attorney's fees completely without any legal justification, to put money in the pocket of the courthouse favorites, which is absolutely what has happened. That is disconcerting. I am not going to sit around and let fellow members of the bar, who just happen to have cozy relationships with judicial actors and elected officers, take advantage of the poor and the weak and the vulnerable and do nothing about it. I simply am not. And I can understand why those who... So that's number 2. One, way too many people going to jail in violation of the law. This is beginning to look like an innocence project kind of thing. And there's been discussions, all right? Anyway. Number 1. Number 2, the Kenton County Family Court does not exist to put money in lawyers' pockets. It exists for the people, we the people. And it most especially does not exist to prey upon the weak and vulnerable, those who are too poor to have an attorney, by attorneys engaged by those who do have those resources, in circumstances where the court either should or does absolutely know that the award of attorney's fees and ordering people to sell their biggest asset to pay for those attorney's fees of the other side is inappropriate. Not going to debate whether this happened. I'm in the possession already of quite a few brave souls who have gone on record in that regard. So I'm just not going to sit here and tolerate that. Okay? I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think it's the wrong thing to do as a matter of conscience. This is the most troubling thing that I have seen in my entire life. For what it's worth. For those of you wondering, Ben, why the hell are you spending all that is why. I do not believe that it is okay for people to go to jail willy-nilly and for lives to be ruined because judicial actors don't follow the law. Okay? I think it's important to stand up to that, especially if I'm uniquely in a position to, and uniquely in a position to know that, since people have entrusted myself and Katy with that information, number one. Number two, I do not think it is okay for lawyers and court systems to take advantage of the weak and vulnerable to put money in their pockets. That is absolutely what is happening. Okay? It is. And number three, I do not think it's okay for there to be special rules for special people. These are the reasons that this has been such a major issue for me. And obviously, forgive me, I have not been in a position to be fully candid about those things until recently. I wanted to take some time and reflect and pray and really make sure that it's just to search my conscience and do the things that I feel like need to be done before one says what I just said. I don't want to be unfair to anybody. I don't want to accuse anybody falsely. I don't want to kick up a bunch of dirt where there is not, there's nothing there. And I've done those things, and here's what my conscience told me. It's wrong to do anything but say these things. It's wrong to do anything but stand up in the interest for what's right. It is wrong to do anything but to stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. It is wrong to do anything but to act decisively in a nonviolent, peaceful, but purposeful manner to change this system, to return this court and any other court so inclined to its rightful place amongst the people. We, the people, which include most especially the weak and the vulnerable, for which officers of the court like myself acted in a professional capacity. And needless to say, elected officers of the court are constitutionally and as a matter of oath, if not by conscience, required to care about. I'm not willing to walk away from this stuff. My business isn't even in the Kenton County Family Court anymore. Yes, I'm free to speak out with less fear of retaliation at this point. But I'm daily attacked, and the interests that are aligned against saying the things that I just said have obviously for quite some time had their way with me. This is what I say to that. The truth, well-evidenced truth, and a commitment to unearthing it and displaying it is the most powerful thing in the world. More than anything, I deeply feel committed. This is the right thing to do. And I'm committed to doing it for that reason. So, without further ado, that is where we are. That's what's going on. That's what we're looking at. If you have information, if you're willing to support financially through volunteering at the FARC office, families advocating for court reform, the FARC office. If you're willing to help out the folks who will be working there full time, if you're willing to help me fund the thing, which is definitely sacrificial. This is just too important. I think it's too important. It's the most significant moral calling that I've ever felt in my life. I don't know what else to tell you. That's just a sincere belief. We could really use your help. So I hope you had a holiday season. To me, The season is about remembering our blessings and being grateful for what we have, but also it is about being committed to doing good and being about good and to changing the world for the better, and to remembering our brothers and sisters who rely on people to stand up for them because they cannot stand up for themselves. If I break a rule, if I've done anything or do anything for which I should be held accountable, I should be held accountable. It does not change this basic fact. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and this is absolutely a moral imperative. And I feel strongly about it. So, happy holidays.